So we are still in the month of May, but as you probably know, a new iPhone will be announced closer to September because they typically release in September, and we typically get the announcement roughly 2 weeks before. I believe it's before release, and then you can pre-order on the day of announcement or something like that. But what I want to do, because there is not many of these going around, but there is some prototype models going to different people. Unbox Therapy actually has a non-working markup prototype of the iPhone 14 line. They get these companies who are given blueprints of the phone to make their cases, and they use those blueprints to make an idea of what the phone would be. Now, what I want to do today is talk about some things I want to see done for both the iPhone 14 as well as the next iOS update, which I believe is iOS 16, if I'm not mistaken. And most of these are kind of like a personal thing that I want to see. So hopefully you share my ideas on these, wish lists, so to speak. First one for me, which is very important, is the calculator app on the phone. They need to get a new calculator app on the iPhones. It needs to either update it or something. Because I am someone who lives paycheck to paycheck, and so I have to do a budget every week. And the calculator app doesn't save your previous equations, whether I'm doing some additions and subtractions, which is very easy math for the most part. But the fact is, I do an equation and I forget something, or I can't remember which amount is what, budget item I'm doing. And so I typically do all my budget each week on paper. In a world where we're in a world where we're kind of moving away from pen and paper and more into a digital thing. I used to do my budget on my iPad and just draw them out with the pencil. But I think that considering how other phones like Android, Pixel, their calculators are much better. It saves your equations. You can scroll back up and see the different ones you've done. The iPhone one doesn't have that. Once you make an equation, you better screenshot it or erase it completely. And that's a problem for me. I think they need to fix this issue with the calculator. Something very basic that should have been fixed iPhones ago, iPhone 6 or something. But I think it's been the same calculator for the most part. Not to mention, there's not even a calculator app built into the iPad when you buy one. So that's something that needs to be addressed, in my opinion. Moving on to the next thing, the alarm. That needs to be. There's some fixes that need to be done. You do have an option on iPhone to set a purchased song as your alarm tone. We don't want to wake up to the annoying blaring sounds of alarms. We want something that maybe is a bit more energetic to get us ready for the morning, or it's a bit more relaxed to help you ease into that morning wake up. And I have a couple of songs purchased that I tried using, but there's just no sound that comes out of the alarm. I've tested it multiple times ever since I got the phone back in October of 2021. So there needs to be a fix with these alarms. I don't know what else can be done with the clock app other than fixing the alarm issue. And the snooze option. So I do snooze pretty often, and I see that my snooze is set for about 8 minutes or so. I don't know how to change it, or if I can change it. I don't know if there's like a reason why it's 8 minutes, or if that's just the default. But that needs to be addressed as well, and that's more so of a iOS thing, and not so much of a hardware thing. So that's just something that I want to throw in the list as well. Moving on to the next thing. If I think about it, most of these are pretty much software and not hardware, but we'll get to it. Multiple wallpapers. Now, if you have an Apple Watch, you might know that you can save multiple wallpapers on your watch. And when put your passcode into your watch, you can swipe your wallpapers left and right to get to the one that you're feeling for that day. I don't think this is a problem for many people, but I'm complex enough to where the wallpaper I have one day isn't what I feel like having the next day, and I don't want to have to go into my photos, choose the picture, and then shape it and then save it and repeat the process every single day. On the watch, you can save multiple faces. You just swipe over to the one you want that day. I think we need that option for the phone. That'll be really cool. Even like here on my computer, I got Spider-Man here, and then I got Bowser versus Donkey Kong here, and I can just swipe between the two. So I think they need that for the next iOS. That'll be really cool in my opinion. Moving on from there, MagSafe. I love MagSafe charging. I have two MagSafe chargers. One is by Anker, and one is the actual Apple Puck. And I like the Anker one because it is a stand. It also charges my AirPods on the bottom. The Apple Puck, I had to buy a stand. So maybe either make one that has a built-in stand already, but more importantly for this one, make it faster, because you are gonna have a slower charging rate with a wireless MagSafe charger as compared to just plugging it into a Lightning to USB-C into the wall. That's fact. It's gonna be slower when you wireless charge, and I get the point of wireless charging. Like I said, I almost never plug in my phone, but I think if they want to try to maybe transition into a portless phone, which there's been some rumors about an iPhone without any charger ports or anything. If they want to do that, you have to up the speed on that MagSafe charging or wireless charging in general. Luckily, I think the MagSafe charges at about 15 watts, whereas other ones charge at about 10 watts, some of them 5 watts, so very slow. I think plugging it in ranges from 17 to 20, depending on what kind of charger you have. My original car charger was 17 watts. My Anker car charger is about, I believe, 5 or 10 watts. And then plugging it into the power brick is typically 20 watts. So we should be seeing a minimum of 20 watts for wireless charging. If they are going to do a portless iPhone, it'll probably be 15 and not 14. But if they do, they also have to mean, that should mean the phone will be waterproof, not water resistant. Sony has been doing waterproof phones for a few years now. Even back when I had the iPhone 5, I then switched into a Sony Xperia Z3, and that was waterproof. It wasn't flawless, there was some flaws in it, but for the most part it was waterproof. I had that thing in cups of water and just chilling for a bit, and it still worked. So that'll be cool. Kind of like a 2-in-1 right there on that list right there. Going forward, more or better color options for the phones. Now, I wanted to get a red iPhone. I like the color red. I wanted to get a red one, but you couldn't get a Pro Max in red, and I'm not going to get the lower tier iPhone if I want to use it for as many features as I could. I like to get the most out of my products, and that was why I went with the Pro Max, and therefore I went with the graphite option. I think if they are going to continue the trend of doing these different phone option colors, which they will, they should make these colors available in the other models. A friend of mine did ask me, does the color really matter if you're gonna put a case on it? Well, in the iPhone case, yeah, because when you have one of these cases, you can still see the camera background in the back, and it shows you the color of your phone. My mother has the green iPhone 13 Pro Max, the recent one they just made, and it's hard to find a good case that goes with that color because it's a weird green. So I want to be able to see more colors for the Pro and the Pro Max. If I can get a red Pro Max, that'd be awesome. Bring back the purple one. The purple one was released for the iPhone 12. I think it was like the anniversary of Steve Jobs passing or something like that. And it was a really nice purple phone, and they should have brought that back. It was a really nice color. There's a purple leather case, and that's about it. But bring back some more colors. Make some of the other colors better. The red one has been kind of seeing a decline in brightness and saturation, so it tends to be more of a darker red throughout each iPhone generation. Even the case right now, my product red case is kind of like a cherry red, so I managed to make it work. But go back to like the hot red, fiery red, whatever you want to call it. Those would be really cool. It's Apple, so why not Apple red or something, But moving on, Touch ID. This is kind of like a yes and a no. I know some of the iPads have brought back Touch ID. Not every place out there is going with the mask lift, the mask lift, or whatever you want to call it. A lot of places still have a mask mandate within this pandemic. I don't live in a state that has a mask mandate right now, so it's not a problem for me. But even when it did, my watch would unlock my iPhone when I was next to it. But I think Touch ID should also be there either way. I hate to see a world where we're forced to wear masks forever, but I think Touch ID is a really cool thing to have. Maybe they should put it back, or find a way. I don't know. I just think that's something that we should have. Maybe we're trying to move away from Touch ID. Maybe it's like old technology we don't want to do. I thought it was cool. I like Touch ID. It was pretty cool. I feel like a spy when you used it. But if we are seeing places still having a mask mandate, and not everyone has an Apple Watch, so they supposedly there is an update that they released that can still unlock your phone with a mask on. I don't know how that works because I never needed it because I still have my watch. And as I said, I don't have a mask. I don't wear a mask right now because we don't have a mandate. Almost nobody wears a mask down here. Like, it's majority non-mask. But I think Touch ID should probably return and see how if it's going to be there for another year or two. Moving on to that, the power button. I think we need to move the power button to another spot on the phone. It's a personal problem. I don't know if anyone else has it, but sometimes when you have your phone and you're like holding it or something, you accidentally press the power button and it closes out the screen. Or in my case, to avoid it, I end up having to hold the button to activate Siri, just so I can avoid locking my screen and having to unlock it again. I don't know why they can't put it on the top. The iPads have them on the top. It'll be a bit of a weird placement. I understand that. You also don't want it to be on the same side as the volume buttons. Maybe they would, because it could definitely go above the lock switch, the silent switch. So you won't have that confusion so much because the power's on the top. Then you have your silent switch and then your volume up and down. So that's something that I would hope that they can maybe think about in the future. It's probably too late now for them to do it. They probably already have their mindset for the 14 and maybe even the 15. Who knows? Final thing I guess I can add is supposedly the new iPhones are no longer going to have a notch. It's going to be more of like a hole punch, more in terms of like a sideways exclamation mark for the speaker and the camera. I've seen the I guess you can call it the prototype of it on the Unbox Therapy video, and it's gonna make viewing content a lot better in some aspects, so you won't have that stupid notch in the middle. But I said this before, the Google Pixel 2 had a much better, in my opinion, one of the best notches of phones. I don't know if you would call it a notch or so much as like a bezel, but it was so minimal that you wouldn't even notice it, even with the matte black Pixel 2. And when you zoom in your content, all you gotta do is hold the phone with your thumb over that camera area, the outline, and it'll look fine. It'll look like you had a full screen video. So the bezels wasn't bad on the Pixel 2. I know a lot of phones are starting to do some notches, and Apple in particular has been notorious for the thick notch. I don't really like the hole punch idea from other phones. Like, I know Samsung's have that front lens hole punch, and it just makes it a little kind of ugly with that dot on your screen. But I like what I saw, if it is going to happen, with the exclamation mark hole punches for the iPhone 14. But I think we could do better. I wouldn't mind a bezel, as long as it's not a thick ass notch that's making a little box on top. Just some kind of little thin bezel to get the job done and make it work. But that's pretty much it for the video today. I hope you guys have your own ideas that you want to see for the iPhone 14. Are the rumors true that they're eliminating the mini and they're going back to a standard size iPhone as the base model? Do you think they're true? Do you think they're going to change the available storage space? I think the maximum was a terabyte, which was hella expensive. But I want to see what your ideas are. What are your thoughts? What do you want to see for an iPhone going forward? Do you agree with me on some of these ideas, or do you have any disagreements? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button. I almost never asked that as far as I can remember. So be sure to do that, and I'll see you guys on the next one.